Good day, everyone. I'm here to present a project lessons learned presentation on ABC Incorporation. Let's start with introduction. Uh, the AB Incorporation was initiated to develop and implement a new customer relationship management system to improve customer satisfaction and retention. The project aimed to deliver the system within 6 months with a budget of 50,000 Canadian dollars. The outcomes were successful. Completion of the project within the time frame and the budget, and with all deliverables and milestones achieved. Now moving on to the next slide, project scope. It was clearly defined and documented in the project charter and project management's plan. Scope changes were managed through regular reviews and approvals of change requests. The project team communicated effectively with stakeholders to ensure their expectations were aligned with the project scope. Now moving on to the next slide, that is project schedule. The project schedule was divided into 6 phases with specific deliverables and milestone to be achieved in each phases. The team also used Gantt charts to analyze the critical path. The project was completed on time with all deliverables and milestone achieved within the scheduled time frame for each of the uh, specific milestones. Now moving on to the next point, that is project budget. The project budget, which was established, was based on the project scope, covered, and it all covered all the expenses to create and put into the CRM system. To avoid budget overruns, the project team kept a track on actual expenditures and compared that to the budgeted budget for each milestone. As we already know, the project cost was 50,000 Canadian dollars. Now let's talk about risk management. In terms of risk management, the risk management plan included regular risk identification and assessment of each of the risk that was noted down, and as well as appropriate risk responses. The project team successfully mitigated all identified risks, and the project was completed without any major issues or delays. This highlights the importance of having risk management plan in a place and regularly monitoring this risk to prevent major stake setbacks. Now moving on to the next slide, that is communication management. Now in this project, the communication plan included stakeholder communication channels and frequency of communication. The project team communicated regularly with stakeholders to keep them informed of project progress and any changes to scope, schedule, or the budget. The communication plan was successful in managing stakeholder expectations and ensuring that the project was delivered according to the actual plan. Effective communication is critical to project success as it ensures that everyone involved is on the same page. No one is going out of what is required, and prevents any misunderstanding that can lead to delays or errors or any major setbacks. Now coming on to the last slide for this topic, that is the project closure. The project closure process included finalizing all deliverables, obtaining stakeholder acceptance after showing them what the project is at, and after their acceptance only we go ahead, and conducting a project evaluation. The project team obtained acceptance from all deliverables and CRM system was successfully implemented as well. The project evaluation identified areas of success and areas of improvement which will be considered in future projects. This highlights the importance of project evaluation as it allows for continuous improvement and ensures that lessons learned from one project are applied to the next one as well, so that we can mitigate or lessen the risks and the project is completed on time. Now let's talk about the pertinent elements and rationale in this project. Now moving on to the next slide, let's look at the project overview. The project scope was clearly defined and documented in the project charter and the project management plan. The project scope was defined, what would be included in the project and what will not be included. It is also defined as the project boundaries, constraint and assumptions. In the ABC incorporation project, the project scope was effectively managed through regular reviews and approvals and change requests. It is common for projects to experience scope creep, where the project scope expands beyond the original plan. However, in this project, the project team was successful in managing scope changes through effective communication with the stakeholders. Now let's talk about the project scope. Project scope was perfectly precisely stated, recorded in the project management plan and the project charter. Through routine assessment and approval of change, request and scope modifications, everything was handled properly. To make sure the expectations were in line with the project team effectively communicated with the stakeholders. Now talking about the risk management. Risk management is essential part of the project management. It involves identifying, assessing the risk, and managing the risk that may impact the project success. In ABC Incorporation project, the risk management plan were regularly identified, assessed, and appropriate actions were always taken. The project team identified and assessed risk regularly through the project. throughout the project. This helped them to identify potential issues before they became major problem. The project team also implemented appropriate risk responses which help to mitigate the risk. For example, one of the identified risks that the project may not be completed within the scheduled time frame due to the unforeseen circumstances. To mitigate this risk, the project team implemented a contingency plan which included adding additional resources to the project if needed. This helped to ensure that the project was completed on time within the scheduled time frame. Now talking about communication management, how was the communication between the team managed? Effective communication is critical to the success of the project. In ABC Incorporation project, the communication plan included stakeholders, communication channels, and frequency of the communication. The project team communicated regularly with the stakeholders to ensure that they are on the same page and any issues raised by the stakeholders were taken care of, and again follow-up was also done. This is the whole project. If you need any further questions, we are available to answer that. Have a good day.